For those of you who are just waking up about the true history of African Americans, do you feel equipped to prove your Hebrew identity? Are you searching for reliable sources that will help you prove that Negroes are the people of the book? Then be sure to tune in for this new series entitled Prove Your Hebrew Identity. More and more people are declaring that blacks, or so-called African Americans, are the descendants of the ancient Israelites. Others are trying hard to debunk it. They say things like, "Oh, I can never believe that," "Anybody but them," or "Where's the proof?" I find it interesting that African Americans are presented with such high thresholds to prove their Hebrew identity, while others can simply announce it and the world will roll out the red carpet. Interestingly, the evidence is mounting as we continue to uncover even more documented proof to show that we are the people of the book. The only difference is that now we're no longer doing it to convince the world. We're doing it to reclaim our history, to educate our own people, and to let the naysayers know that we're not really asking you to sanction what we're saying. So, for those who are honestly seeking the truth, yes, you can prove your Hebrew identity. In this new series, we're going to be sharing information from books, articles, old newspapers, and quotes about the identity of the Negro. Be sure to write these things down so that you will have the sources to back up what you're saying. We want you to be armed and dangerous. Listen to these quotes describing the black Jews of Portugal and Spain. "For if 1,000 times they are with white women, their children are born with the dark skin of their parents." This is a quote from a book written by a Spanish monk and historian, Fray Sandoval, in 1606. The quote can be found on page 319. Let's read another quote from John Mackey in 1733. He says, "Earl of Nottingham, Secretary of State, is eldest son to Mr. Finch, Lord Chancellor in the reign of King Charles II. This gentleman never made any considerable figure till the Revolution, when he zealously opposed King William's coming to the throne, yet was made Secretary of State by that prince. He had also the exterior air of business and application enough to make himself capable. In his habit and manners were very formal. A tall, thin, very black man, like a Spaniard or Jew, about 50 years old." The name of the book is Memoirs of the Secret Services of John Mackey. So we see from these quotes that Jews were known to have dark skin or to be very black. A physiognomist from the 18th century named Johann Caspar Lavater quoted the storm and stress poet J.M.R. Lentz to the effect that "it is evident to me the Jews bear the sign of their fatherland, the Orient, throughout the world. I mean their short, black, curly hair, their brown skin color. Their rapid speech, their brusque and precipitous actions also come from this source. I believe that the Jews have more gall than other people." The article goes on to say that it is the character ascribed to the Jews that is written in the nose and on their skin. Jews bear the sign of the black, the African character of the Jew, his muzzle-shaped mouth, and the face removing him from certain other races. As Robert Knox noted in the mid-19th century, the physiognomy of the Jew is like that of the black. I'll drop down where it says, both Aryan and Jewish anthropologists wrote of the predominant mouth of some Jews being the result of the presence of black blood, and the brown skin, thick lips, and prognathism of the Jew as a matter of course. It is, therefore, not only the color of the skin that enabled the scientist to see the Jew as black, but also the associated anatomical signs, such as the shape of the nose. The Jews were quite literally seen as black. Adam Goralski, a Polish noble, took every light-colored mulatto for a Jew when he first arrived in the United States in the 1850s. So based on that description, would you assume that the writer is talking about this individual on the right? Something to think about. All right, so I will share this short excerpt containing several quotes about the color of the Jews. Pay close attention, there's a lot of information in here. It says, the notion of the blackness of the Jews, or Jewish blackness, has become commonplace in scholarly discourse. Going back to the path-breaking work of Sandra L. Gilman in the late 1980s, scholars often assert that a strong European tradition dating back to the Middle Ages maintained that the Jews were black, or at least swarthy, and finds sharp expression in modern anti-Semitic literature, that in medieval literature a theory prevailed in which the Jews were part of the black race, or were at least dark-skinned, or that the general look of the Jew was considered to be like that of the black. So let's dig deeper into the meaning of the word swarthy. This comes from the online etymology dictionary. So the word comes from an Old English word meaning black, dark of night, clouds. Could also mean wicked or infamous. It comes from Proto-Germanic swarta, which is an Old Saxon word, and Middle Dutch word swart. It also says Gothic swarts, or dark-colored black, from the root word swarto, or dirty, dark, black. It says the true Germanic word surviving in the continental languages, but displaced in English by black. So the word means black. Based on that definition, which of the two ladies comes closest to that word swarthy? I think it's pretty obvious, don't you think? Let's keep going. All right, so we see that black and swarthy are both words used to describe the ancient Israelites. There's another word found in this quote. It reads, it has been pretended that the Jews who came originally from Syria and Palestine have the same brown complexion they had formerly. As Mission, however, justly observes, the Jews of Portugal alone are tawny. So tawny is a brown complexion. Take a look at the color palette to see what a tawny color would look like. And we can see it is a dark brown. Now look at these two women and see which one comes closest to the tawny color. Again, I believe the answer is very obvious. I also want to confirm the location identified as the original home of the Jews. It says that they came from Syria and Palestine. Let's take a look at this map. All right, so the world is known to the Hebrews according to the Mosaic account. We have the continent of Africa here known as the land of Ham, or the land of the blacks. Cush, Ethiopia, Nubia, Egypt is right here. Right next to it is a land bridge where you could easily walk over into Canaan. Here in the land of Arabia, you have Ishmael living here. You have Babel, the land of Ur, which is where Abraham was from. You have the Euphrates River here. So we know that people of color were living here in Arabia. Syria was in this area as well. Now, how do we know that people of color live here? Because Ishmael was the son of Abraham and Sarah's Egyptian maid Hagar. Also, we know that Canaan was the son of Ham, and Ham was known as the father of the black races. So people of color were living here in this area in Arabia. Now this confirms the quote that says the Israelites began in Syria. We know that Abraham migrated into Canaan, and then he also spent some time in Egypt. Now up near the water and colder climates in the mountains is where the Gentiles live. You have Ashkenaz here. We also have the Caucasus Mountains here, Greece. So they were in this area. However, we know that these two groups were intermingling, the Shemites and the Hamites. We know that because Joseph married an Egyptian. We know that Moses married an Ethiopian woman. And again, Abraham had a son with Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian maid. So again, this confirms the quote that the people of Israel, the children of Israel, they began in Arabia. Let's keep going. Let's look at some quotes. This comes from Louis Ferdinand Cellini. He says, "The Jew is a Negro." Of course, this one needs no introduction. He says, "Jews, these Negroid parasites in our national body." This source comes from a clipping from Weekly Raleigh Register. You can find this at newspapers.com. It says this clipping found in Weekly Raleigh Register in Raleigh, North Carolina on March 23, 1853, and the title Jewish Negroes Near the Border. So the Reverend Dr. Philip, missionary in the north of Africa, gives the following details concerning that country. A Russian Jew resident at Meday gave him information concerning a great number of Israelites inhabiting the oasis of Sahara and dwelling also at Bathor. I'll drop down. It says, "But this is not all. Other curious details reached Dr. Philip from another source, a Jew who had accompanied a German traveler as far as Timbuktu, found near the boundary of Bambara a large number of Jewish Negroes. Nearly every family among them possessed the law of Moses written upon parchment. Although they speak of the prophets, they have not their writings. Their prayers differ from those of other Jews, and are committed to little leaves of parchment, stitched together, and contain numerous passages derived from the Psalm." The article goes on to say these Jews have mingled some of the superstitions of oral law, which they have not committed to writing, with those of their neighbors, the Mohammedans and the heathens. It goes on to say the explanation which they give of themselves in connection with their black skin is this: that after the destruction of Jerusalem at the time of the captivity, some of their ancestors, having neither goods nor land, fled to the desert. The fatigue which they endured was so great that nearly all the females died by the way. The children of Ham received them with kindness, and by intermarriage with their daughters who were black, communicated their color to their children. These children became generation by generation a deeper hue, until no difference of the color now distinguished the children of Shem and those of Ham. The form of their features, however, is very different from the Negroes around them. So, it's obvious that their color was brown before they migrated into Africa, because we know that Joseph was mistaken for an Egyptian, and so was Paul. So was Moses. So they already had dark skin. It's not like their skin was white and then they suddenly turned to black. They already had dark skin. As we continue to learn about our history and reconnect with our heritage, it is important to remember why we were banished from our land and brought into captivity. Let's read these verses from 2 Chronicles 30:8 through 9. Do not be stiff-necked, as your ancestors were. Submit to the Lord. Come to his sanctuary, which he has consecrated forever. Serve the Lord your God, so that his fierce anger will turn away from you. If you return to the Lord, then your fellow Israelites and your children will be shown compassion by their captors and will return to this land. For the Lord your God is gracious and compassionate. He will not turn his face from you if you return to him. So in addition to learning about who we are, we also have to repent and turn from our wicked ways. We can't continue to behave like heathens and expect the Most High's blessings. We are children of light, so we need to act like it. It is great to finally learn the truth about our people, about our heritage, because in the past our enemy used our ignorance to destroy us. And the Bible says you are destroyed because you lack knowledge. Well, we say no more. Once you know the truth will set you free. Our people are waking up. We're searching the scriptures. We're examining the doctrine that we've been taught to see if those things were true. And we're going to continue with this series because we want you to be confident when you share this truth with others. But there's one important aspect of learning this truth that you have to keep in mind. We now have a greater responsibility. We have to represent our Father well. We're his children. We are the children of Yasharal. Shalom.